Hi, I'm Bo Humphreys, and this is the Personal Finance Show. This is the COVID-19 series that we're doing now. I'm out of my sabbatical. I made 100 episodes, and then I took some time off to take care of my son and apparently get a full-time job. And I have one interview that I did with somebody that's been sitting there for 9 months. He's okay with it. Um, we'll get back to that format at some point soon. But the COVID-19 has kind of brought me out because I realized I have this platform to connect with people, either me personally talking for a couple episodes, which we did for the first one. I just wanted to give everybody an update and then just check in. And then I want to talk to people around the world. So we did Australia and New Zealand last week with Michelle. And this week is Jordon Cox in the UK. Jordon, welcome to the show.
Good morning to you, Bo. How are you?
I am a little bit sleepy. It's early. We do this before my son wakes up. That's the idea, but it's a little bit later for you.
I think we're all just in a constant state of tiredness. Nobody knows what the day is. It's like, yeah, we're all in this lethargic kind of.
It is
Yeah,
Sunday, right?
yeah.
Sunday. Well, still Sunday for you too. Yeah,
hmm
April the 19th. So just
Thanks for
just put
clarifying.
that
I
just
needed
put
that.
that on
Yeah.
record, just so we know. But no, you're right. Some of us are working all day, and so we have some kind of structure there. But I can imagine if you, well, maybe depending on the type of work that you have, you don't have a regular structure anyway. So
Mhm.
anything that kind of set up your day, like going out and doing things, or meeting with people, or that kind of thing. So you are where in the UK are you?
So I live in a place called Essex, which is about sort of 20 miles out of central London, to
Okay,
the east.
why Miles? Why are you doing this to me? It's Canadian. We're Canadian over
Well,
here.
you should adopt our British things. Come on, you former
So
colony.
do you actually speak in miles?
Yeah, yeah. We
Oh wow,
We're really weird because we speak in miles, but yet we measure fuel in liters as opposed to gallons. It's
we do too. Yeah, yeah.
we're just like a messed up of like metric and
Oh,
imperial.
and well, how tall are you?
I'm 6'5".
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I know I'm 5'8". Yeah, you are quite tall. I remember.
yeah.
Um,
I'm 10
yes, sir.
stone 6 in weight, which
Yeah, you're.
just throws everything off.
I
So
love that. I love that. No one has any idea what that means, except for like maybe people surrounding your island.
yeah.
But yeah, 10 stone. So can you convert that to, I don't know, to pounds?
Yeah. So I've basically had to learn a new language just to interact with people from
That's
America and
right.
Canada. It's so there's 14 pounds in a stone. So
Okay. Yeah.
I'm something like 147,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
which makes sense. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Not far. Not far. I'm close to that. I'm shorter than you. You're skinnier than me.
hmm
Now you've had some. I don't know if you want to talk about this, but you've had
Mm,
some medical things happen lately. Yes.
I have, yeah. So how long ago was it? 2 years ago. I was in hospital for 120 days in a year. So
Wow.
basically a third of a year. Um,
Yeah.
and that was due to something called Crohn's disease, which I was diagnosed with when I
Sure.
was 17, I believe. And it basically ate my body so much that I couldn't eat a thing. So I couldn't eat any
Wow.
morsel of food, and I dropped down to 6 stone 10 in weight, which let me convert, I think is about 80 pounds. Um,
Wow, that is crazy. No, Crohn's is
mm,
it's something that a lot of people have,
mhm.
right? But this doesn't happen to everybody.
No, no.
What
So
happened to you?
yeah, my bowel just basically gave up. So I had to have
Oh,
surgery
wow.
um,
Okay, yeah.
to have something called an ileostomy bag, um,
Yeah.
which is it's basically reroutes the waste that goes through your bowel into this bag. It gives your whole body a rest so that you're not constantly going through like inflammation and stuff like that. It saved my life. So I had this bag for about 10 months. I had it reversed last year, and I'm back to full health, which is something
That's amazing.
that not many people can say. And
Yeah.
I have no symptoms at the moment. So 2 years ago, I was about this close to death, and now I'm fit as a fiddle. It's amazing.
Oh, that is so cool that we can fix these kinds of things now.
Oh, I
Because
know.
when I think of an ostomy bag, I think of someone who's older and has
Mm,
lost the bowels ability.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was going to go this way at the beginning. I'm talking about bowels, but this is it's good because, if anybody is young now, how old are you?
I was 21 at the time of the surgery. I just
Yeah.
turned 23.
Yeah. So like if somebody is going through this at a young age,
Mm,
at least they can think, oh, there's something. Now
mm,
you have the NHS, right?
that's right. Yeah.
In the UK, and all of this was free for you.
Yeah. So it's free on point of entry. So we basically pay for it through our tax system.
Yeah,
Um,
that same thing here. Yeah.
yeah.
You ever take? I mean, did you have to pay for any of the extra supplies or anything? Or
Basically nothing. No, we have like a flat fee for medication when you live at home, which is about sort of £7-8, which is about $10. But that's kind of once on a month. So I think I did like an addition for like everything that I used while I was in hospital, because I was in hospital
yeah,
for 120 days. I had 2 surgeries. I had blood transfusions. I had like iron transfusions. All these different things, and it would have added up to like close to £1 million worth of fees just for the
yeah.
stuff that they used on me to save me. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm very lucky.
and these are the kinds of things that even if they have coverage in the U.S.,
Hmm.
the copay or whatever they have to pay would be almost bankrupting for that
Yeah,
kind of thing, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, we're very lucky to have this kind of system set up, and you don't really realize until you go through something. Like we had a baby last year, and
Mm,
the only thing we had to pay for was an upgrade to a private room because we didn't have coverage that way, and
uh,
that was a nice gift from my in-laws. Other than that, like I've seen the bills from people in the U.S. and coverage or not, like just to see how much it costs and to put it
mm.
through. They still get billed for this kind of thing, and
Oh
then
yeah.
the insurance maybe covers all of it or most of it, but still, just to have a bill like that come to your house
Mm,
is terrifying, right?
yeah, for sure.
Just to have a baby or to fix your body in your
Mm,
case, right? Yeah, well, good. I'm glad you're back,
yeah.
right? Now we're in a pandemic,
Hmm.
which I mean, that wouldn't. No, well, I guess the thing we should talk about too is: are you considered to be a compromise at all?
Luckily not. So I had a couple of like
Okay.
letters from the government saying you must stay inside, but that
Yeah.
was because I was on immunosuppressants, which basically compromised my immune system. But I was able to come off of those drugs quite recently, so I'm not at risk, which is great. But yeah, it
That
doesn't
is
mean that
great.
I have more freedom than other people. Really, it just
Doesn't
means
mean
that
you're going up in everybody's face and cough on me or anything,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like none of us are taking risks like that, but
Hmm.
we're hearing from people in our personal finance community and others. Of course, everybody is talking about this stuff on Twitter too. Is that
Hmm.
you don't know who is
Hmm.
more immunocompromised than you.
Hmm.
So, like, even if you think I'm healthy, I should go just hang out everywhere and live my life. Yeah, go ahead and go kill people. Sounds good, right?
Yeah.
Great choice. Great choice
Hmm.
for others. So yeah, it's something to definitely realize, and
Hmm.
hopefully everybody knows this kind of stuff by now than asymptomatic carriers, and
Yeah.
it's pretty clear now. Like you don't have to be. We don't know who has it,
Hmm.
and that's really the big thing about this is millions of people have it now, and I don't know how many more who haven't been tested who have it and who aren't showing symptoms, right?
Hmm.
We're gonna find out a lot of this probably in the next month or so, right? We're gonna find out how widespread or if how well these social distancing measures are working. But I want to know about your experience so far. You were not at home when this all went down, yes?
So on the 10th of March, I took a flight and was going on holiday or vacation to Disneyworld in Florida.
Okay.
So yeah, it was coronavirus was just starting kind of over here. There was maybe 100 cases in the US, something like that.
Okay.
And we kind of went on holiday because we were like, there's no point letting it stop us live our life, really.
Yeah, not
We need
not
a
yet.
break.
Anyway, we
Yeah,
didn't know anything. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So we went to Disney World. We paid a lot of money for this holiday. It was
Yeah.
my mother, and my boyfriend of 18 months, and it was his first time to Disney. So we were like, yeah, let's treat him. Let's show him all the sights. We were at Disney all but 2 days, and we were actually on the Skyliner, and we overheard a couple saying, "Oh, Disneyland in California is closing." And we were like,
Oh.
"Oh, great, here we go."
Uh.
And then,
Okay.
unfortunately, 6 hours after we heard that Disney World was closing, and the hotels were going to be kicking us out before the end of our trip. So
Yeah, right in the middle of all of this. So how long was the trip going to be for?
it was going to be for nearly 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah. So you're no matter you were.
Hmm.
So and then how many days did you end up staying?
We had sort of 4 days in the parks, and then
Uh,
our flight, we had an email saying our flight home was cancelled on like the fifth day of our trip. So
okay.
the parks were closing, hotels were closing, and our flight was cancelled. So we were like,
Where are you gonna go?
right. But luckily, our flight was kind of rescheduled, and we were repatriated home with a load of other Brits
Yeah.
who were stuck. So we were only in the US for, I think, 6 days out of our sort of near 2 week trip.
Oh, that sucks.
Now the problem for us is trying to get our money back
Yeah, it
because
wasn't your fault, right?
exactly, yeah. And the holiday company that we booked through, they said they will give us refund for what we didn't use. So we didn't really use the Disney tickets, like 4 days. The hotel, we had 2 rooms for about 5 nights, which we didn't use. And the phone lines are just absolutely swamped because people have
Okay.
obviously booked holidays for the next sort of 3 months, which they can't
Yeah.
go on. So they want a refund.
Yeah.
We're just kind of pushed to the back of the queue because they kind of just thought, well, they're home now. We're kind of done. But yeah, it's tough to track someone down and get some sort of money, which everyone is looking for at the moment, really.
So you're working on that still then.
Yeah. So I got home over a month ago and I still had nothing.
Oh, that because yeah, like you said, you spent a lot of money on this. It's not cheap to go to Disney, right?
No.
Can you give us some ballpark numbers, like in terms of 2 weeks at the actual going and attending
Mhm.
Disney itself, and
Mhm.
then maybe what a typical hotel is? You don't have to tell us exactly what you did.
Yeah. So for us three, it was about £5,000.
Okay. Wow.
Which we stayed at one of the moderate resorts on site, so that probably bumped up the price. For 2 weeks, you're probably looking at about sort of 2,000 per person normally. So
Sure.
it's not cheap. There are ways to do it cheaper, but yeah, we kind of wanted the full Disney experience of staying on site.
When I was in Orlando, I
Mhm.
stayed at Airbnb, 20 plus minute drive. Traffic. Nobody knows about Florida traffic
Mhm.
or Orlando traffic anyway.
Yeah.
Just waiting at lights takes forever.
Mm.
So I would drive to, we did, what was it? Rosenshingle Creek, right? That's
Mhm.
where we
That's right.
did Orlando. Was it worth it to be that far away? I wouldn't want to do that if I was doing Disney. I'd want to
Mm.
be on site. And
Yeah.
that's what you did. What do you just get on? They have like a tram, right? Like a
That's right. All of your transportation is paid for, and it's all free. So you can get on buses, monorails, boats, like Skyliners now. And where we're from the UK, obviously we drive on the wrong side of the road.
yeah,
So
yeah. You're not
it's
driving.
it's scary to rent a car in the US and take to the freeway.
Well, we did that for our honeymoon. We did Scotland, right?
Mm,
So when we got to Scotland, we rented a car in Edinburgh Airport. We drove to St Andrews,
okay.
and it was really the most terrifying first drive ever. So we got to St Andrews, and we're just like, how are we going to keep doing this? How are we going to keep driving? All because we were going all the way to Fort William on the other side, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So we go to St. Andrews, and then we're going to drive across.
Hmm.
And we know that the roads just get narrower and narrower as
Hmm.
you get in the Highlands, right? So we just decided, you know what? Let's just accept our situation, and because we could just be like terrified the whole time, or just come up with a plan and move forward. And once we made that decision, we kind of just calmed down, and then it became more normalized. And of course, like I was in because Kayla started driving. We
Hmm.
decided that she just should keep driving. There's no point in having another learning curve as another one of us,
Right.
right? So I took up the permanent role as a side sensor in the passenger. That's the label that we gave. So every time we would get. So how does it work? So she would be in the. Actually, now I'm all reversed, right? So
So should be
where
on
am I
the left side
normally?
of the road,
Yeah,
but
left side of the road.
in the right
Uh,
position. Yeah.
in the right position against the traffic, right? So like she'd have another
Yes.
car beside her, and so that I would be near the wall if there
Hmm.
was a rock wall or whatever. So I'd be like too close to the rock wall or the side sensor, and she'd be like, "I'm trying not to hit cars head on," and so we would just be like, "Okay, let's just balance that," and that's how we got through. So I can understand. Australia was easier
Hmm.
because the roads we started off in wider roads, but we
Right.
still did get into narrower roads as we got up. We did North Queensland up to Cape Tribulation. Up
Right.
we drove. We flew into, I'll say, Cairns, and then drove from there up.
Hmm.
And that was great. But we
Hmm.
had practice from before.
Yeah.
Those are the only two experiences. So, and you never have driven on the other side though.
I passed my driving
Oh yeah,
test 9 months ago, so
yeah,
I've barely driven on our side of the road yet. Like
yeah,
I don't have a car or anything. I'm just kind of driving my mum's car as and when.
yeah. Okay, so
Um,
your mom has a car, and how do you get around otherwise?
well, I used to work in London, which is like a 20-minute train ride away, so I never had the need for a car. But
You
now
just walk to the train.
yeah, the train station is like a 15-minute walk away, and then I get on the train and then I'm there. But now I sort of work for myself. I'm freelance. I work from home. A car is needed more now. Obviously, I can't really use it at the moment because we're not allowed out. But once this is over, for sure, I'll be needing a car to get me from A to B.
Yeah, and I want to talk about your situation financially
Mm,
in a bit. First, I want to get the lowdown on the UK, and
hmm.
so when you got back, did you have to go into isolation or anything like that?
Well, this is what was funny. There was a load of signs saying if you've been to northern Italy, if you've been to China, lock
Yeah,
yourself down, like stay inside, whatever. But when we got back from the US, there was nothing. There was no advice anywhere. There was nothing saying you need to be locked down, you need to do this. Because at the time, the USA had less cases than us. So
yeah,
I
like
think,
one or something. Yeah.
yeah, I think we were fine. But we did stay kind of in isolation for 2 weeks just for precaution. But we landed back on a Wednesday, and the UK went into lockdown the following Monday. So
Mm,
we were only allowed out, and we still are only allowed out for shopping, one piece of exercise per day, and to get any medical supplies or attend hospital appointments. And
okay.
so that's what we've been under since we got back, basically.
So that's interesting. I don't know that we have a restriction on how many exercise periods we can do, but that
Mm.
that's probably what they're hoping too, is you go out once a day. I
Mhm.
haven't heard that listed specifically though. So
Mm.
I'm curious if that's because people are getting stopped if they're congregating in any way.
Mhm.
Parks are closed,
Mhm.
things like that. Any kind of public equipment in a park, like playground equipment. I just saw an article where six guys got tickets for having a pizza party in a car.
Oh my
Sorry, it's just funny now that I say it. It's just like they're just sitting in the car eating pizza,
Yeah.
and I get that. That's like, I
Mm.
mean, you're sharing this pizza box. If one of you has it, then you're going to bring it back to your families. Not any one of them lived in the same house, so
Right.
they can't say that. Oh, well, some of us live together. Now there was a
Mm.
family who got ticketed in a park, and they all live in the same house, and they were just rollerblading around together,
Mm.
and they got a ticket, I think, mostly because the guy was challenging the officer. Yeah, they all lived in the same house. It was a family. So
Mm.
that was a really kind of interesting, ambiguous one where they weren't doing anything wrong, really, but
Mm.
it appeared so. And then I don't know. It's probably because they talked back. That's what I think. Are there any news articles about anything like that where people are just being dumb, like in Florida, for example?
So
So
many.
many? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you got? You got some
We
examples or?
I saw one the other day where a guy was in his car. He was on like the freeway in the UK, and a policeman stopped him, and he said, like, "Where are you going? What's your reason of purpose?" And he said, "Oh, I'm driving to the supermarket." And he lived about 150 miles away from where he was stopped.
Well, he really wants to go to
And
that one
to that
place.
supermarket in Scotland, like, yeah,
That's right.
it's got good deals on. And there was another guy who was stopped, who was driving 130 miles an hour on the freeway. And the policeman stopped him and said, "Why are you going so fast?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm going that fast so I don't catch coronavirus." Like, don't think that's
Well
how it
done,
works.
sir.
But I appreciate the effort.
Well played. Yes. I appreciate that too.
It's the go-to excuse now.
Why are you robbing this bank?
Oh, Corona.
Corona, right? I don't know what to tell you, but coronavirus is the answer to your question.
Exactly.
So you probably have very similar stuff to us. Is the NHS governing every sort of health thing across like the whole island? Is that how it works?
Basically, yeah. They've
Yeah.
opened up private hospitals now. So they've tried to make a load of the private ones COVID only hospitals,
Yes.
um,
Okay.
and then use the other ones for other medical needs to carry on with like cancer treatments and that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it's tough. We're overwhelmed here for sure. I think we're at the peak now, so we've got the most number of cases that we might see, and hopefully it will start to tail off from now. But yeah, the NHS has handled really quite well, despite I think it's a third of the workforce here has now been infected. So a third of the
Okay.
nurses and stuff have some form of coronavirus.
Oh,
Um,
really?
so
Wow.
it's wiped out a lot of people who are involved.
We've heard from our colleague
Hmm.
Paula Pant is the one kind of in our industry who is publicly talking about having it,
Mm,
and she has what she calls a mild case, which is not mild at all. So I can imagine even if the majority of these healthcare workers are younger, it's not a walk in the park. It's not
mm,
fun to
yeah.
get this, and it could result in lingering respiratory issues as well,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
If that's not something that's guaranteed, I don't know.
Mm,
Everybody's a little bit different, right?
mm,
So it's not like you die or you're great, right? There's a lot of nuance in there. And
mm,
so nobody wants this. Nobody wants to get it. A lot of us will get it no matter. We're not going to have much of a choice.
mm.
Do you have anyone close connected to you? I know like we all have 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Really, do you have anybody you know?
So my mum works for the NHS. Actually, she deals with older people who are at the end of their life. Um,
Wow. Okay.
she's working from home, which is good, because
Yeah.
she doesn't have to be in a hospital or anything. But her boss contracted COVID-19
Okay.
because her husband
Wow.
works as a nurse on the front line, so he got it, and by proxy she got it as well.
And then she got it.
Uh
Wow.
huh. She's been quite ill with it. She went through a stage of being like okay, like getting back to normal, and then it just hit her like a train again. But yeah, that's the only person that I know close to me that's got it. But yeah, it's scary that it can get that close.
And yeah, and like you said, the UK has been hit hard, but I also heard that one of the maybe big private hospitals that they opened, one of them might be sitting empty, which is good,
Hmm.
right? Like they're ready to go. They were ready to go for
Mm,
a real big outbreak,
mm,
and people are saying it'd be worse if you didn't have it,
mm.
some empty beds, right? And then it all just kind of went down, and nobody has anywhere to go.
They opened up a 4,000 bed hospital in the middle of central London,
That's
uh,
probably the one that I'm
which is
thinking
called
of. Yeah,
the Nightingale Hospital, which is
Nightingale. Yeah.
it's in like an old kind of conference center, but it's not full. It's not full at all. They're either sort of transporting people to their local ones in London. I think there's only like 1,000 filled the last time I read. It's not at capacity, which is kind of it's good in a way. But hopefully we just see that go down from now.
So let's talk about how all of this has affected you. Now,
Hmm.
what were you doing for full time work before?
So I was writing for a website called Money Saving Expert, and that's like the biggest financial website in the UK. And I was writing blogs for them, basically teaching people how to save money, how to get a good deal on their groceries, on their shopping, that kind of thing. And then in January of this year, I left to be a full-time freelancer. So freelance writing, and I've got my own blog now. I do some like public speaking around the country, basically teaching people with their finances. Obviously, that was probably a bad call in terms of timing. Um, because in the UK we've got something called the furlough system. Basically, if a company can't pay their employees, they put them on furlough where the government pays them 80% of their wage. So they don't
Yeah,
have to work and the government basically pays them.
it's employment insurance here.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So my boyfriend's on furlough at the moment, so he's on 80% pay. But for people that are self-employed, it's a bit more tricky. So
What they've implemented some relief
they
for
have, yeah.
self-employed?
For self-employed people that can't work, say if you're like a musician or something that can't go out, they look at your past 3 years' tax returns for how much money you made, and they pay you basically 80% of what you are making. But
Hmm.
people do fall through the cracks, like myself.
Okay.
So
Yes.
I went self-employed 3 months ago. I don't have tax returns in because
Yeah,
I,
you
I
don't.
wasn't making money before by myself. So the government can't help me basically. So I'm getting nothing from the government and my work is dried up. So I'm
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not great. So what are you doing for living costs and stuff?
Well, luckily I live with my mother.
Okay, that's the big one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't have to pay rent or any bills or too many bills, which is good. And I've got like a small pot of savings, which I'm kind of living off at the moment. But yeah, I don't have much work coming in at all. So yeah, I was making sort of four figures a month, which was keeping me rolling. But now
Yeah.
it's down to basically nothing.
Well, it's just a pause, I think, right? You know, that's the hope that this is all just on pause.
Mhm,
You are lucky that you have low costs and you do have some savings, so there's that. But of course, yeah, like you were building up for times like this, I guess.
mhm.
This is why we do it, I guess,
It's
right?
the point of an emergency fund, people.
I'd like to talk about emergency funds without trying to not shame people if they didn't have them already.
Mhm,
But yes, as you said, let's moving forward. Hey, this is it. This is the things we were talking about.
mhm,
These are the things, right? I mean, of course, pandemics. Everyone's going to be like, when's that going to happen again?
mhm.
Who knows, right? Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's who knows.
Mhm.
That's the only answer to that. So let's have something. How you feeling about all this?
Um. Well, there's not much really I can do. I've been working my butt off trying to find like new clients
Yeah,
who are still looking for writers, but the ones that I had are basically not paying out because they don't have the money to spend on writers and things. And my blog, because it's in its infancy, it's only 3 months old. It's not making enough money for me to live off basically. So I was relying on the freelance writing while building up my blog, and obviously the public speaking I can't go out, so that's dried up as well. So at the moment I'm sort of working on projects which will help me down the line when everything is back up and running again. I can launch this alongside my normal stuff, which will help me.
that's
So
perfect.
I'm recording a new podcast at the moment, which I'm going to be launching hopefully when lockdown's over. So that'll be basically a secrets to saving podcast where I teach people how to save money on a different topic every week. I'm bulk recording a load of episodes now so that I can put one out each week when my blog's
Perfect.
back up and running again. So I've got more content. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on at the moment while I can't do much else.
I don't know if you were lined up to do anything for FinCon because you've been hosting the awards the last 2 years. Well, last year.
It's just last year, yeah.
I think you got pretty good reviews for that, right?
I like to hope so, yeah.
Were you in talks with them at all for the next year, or is that gonna be a conversation that's coming up?
Um, I haven't actually heard from anyone about the political awards this year, um,
Yeah.
so I don't really know what's happening. I don't think they do either because it's so up in the air. Uh,
That's it, right? We don't know. We'd like to, so we want to all go to Long Beach at the end of September, I
yeah,
guess. Is
end
that,
of
yeah, end of
September.
September. I already booked the vacation days off,
Hmm.
and we don't know if that's going to happen. I'm sure PT doesn't know, right?
Hmm.
They're just kind of keeping. I know they had to cancel the summit,
Financial freedom, sorry, that was it.
Financial Freedom Summit. We know a lot of people in the events business
Hmm.
and a lot of people who make their money from public speaking
Hmm.
and from putting on events. And what's nice is people like Cara Perez, for example, have already sold like 1,000 tickets to an online event in May.
Yeah.
So there's ways to pivot with this.
Hmm.
But it's a lot harder when it's you speaking at big events, and of course, putting on an online event. The event is free, but I'm imagining there will be ways for Kara to make some money off of this
Hmm.
because that's what she does for a living, right? That's it's like people need to be able to still do what they do, and we're pivoting. I'm counseling online through video or through phone, so we're
Hmm.
but that involved the government of Canada changing the rules a little bit for us.
Yeah.
Um, and even the rules for signing up for bankruptcy or proposal in Canada
Hmm.
have changed so that somebody could do it over Zoom.
Hmm.
Like it's one of those things where a lot of things are changing, right? I mean, there's a lot of things you're doing online, but the work that dried up for freelance is just because people don't have as much money to pay anymore. Is that it?
I think so, yeah. And in my kind of niche, you write about things that people can save money on when they're going out. So on
Okay,
restaurants, on
yeah,
cinema, on that kind of thing, and
sure, of course,
that
yeah,
can't
that makes
happen.
sense.
So I'm writing more about ways to make money from home and that kind of thing. But yeah, my niche is basically gone. So it's
It is because I remember you. I mean, usually specific to the UK, right? Is because you would post about deals here, deals there. If you just act on this today, the things that I would see pop up on Twitter, of course, right? Yeah, you're right. A lot of that is it's not happening, right? And you can't just go jump out and go get a deal today because maybe it's not your day to go shopping once a
Yeah.
week or 2 weeks or whatever. It's just that's why I kind of look at this as just a pause, right? Like we're all on pause.
Mhm.
It's not like maybe we shouldn't be trying to do the things that we used to do, right? We can do those things if everything goes back to normal, or if this lasts longer, then we're gonna have to pivot.
Mhm.
That's really the only way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like such a unique situation to be in. People who've lived like you can't even compare to the early 1900s because like society is so different. But that's like everybody would just have to stay home and there's no communication. Like
Mm.
I don't forget when the telephone was invented, but I'm sure everyone didn't have one
Mm.
back in 1918. So that's a pretty good place to end it then, I guess.
Yeah.
On a positive note, I don't know. I guess we should just stay positive, right? I mean, there's
Mhm.
no point in just brooding. Maybe there is. I mean, you gotta express your emotions about this stuff, right? To
Mhm.
to let it all out. I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter, express, but like sometimes it's just so dark, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
I like positivity, making the most of the situation, right? I mean,
Mm.
like where's your boyfriend at?
He's over 100 miles away actually.
Oh, see
Yeah.
I wanted to end on positivity, Jordan.
I'm
Why
sorry.
did I ask that question? It's my fault.
It,
Rewind. No,
no, it's fine.
um, that sucks. I'm sorry,
Mm.
and you have to stay apart. There's no, it's not like you can
Most
visit,
likely, yeah.
visit or anything. Yeah.
But
Okay.
we're both using this opportunity to do things that we didn't really have time for when things were normal. So he's been painting his house. I've been recording episodes of a podcast. Like
Yeah, that's
we've
it.
been keeping busy. So yeah.
Productive, right? Yeah, and
Exactly.
but you got your mom. Your mom is there.
That's right. Yeah, she's
Yeah, that's
downstairs. She's yeah. We've been keeping each other through it.
and I'd like to mention that. So you and your mom,
Mhm.
when did you start going to FinCon in the U.S.? How long?
So my first FinCon was 2015 in Charlotte, I think. I was
Okay.
I was 18. I overtook Eva Baker as the youngest person there, which frustrated her deeply. But I've been every year since, including the year that I was really ill with Crohn's. I still pulled together and I booked a flight and I was out there. So yeah, I
Wow,
absolutely
that's
love it.
that's great. Like to be so like from another like across the ocean
Hmm.
and to come every year. Last year was DC and
Hmm.
so you got to host the awards there.
Oh yeah,
And the year before, you and I kind of got connected when we did the Ignite
that's right.
presentation,
Yeah.
and you talked about the UK, and
Hmm.
I talked a little bit about Canada, but mostly about Quora. You did say Q once in this episode early on, so I just want to point that out. British people like to talk about Qs, right?
We do, yeah.
Uh,
It's a British staple of life,
it's
queuing.
staple of life, exactly.
Especially now during COVID. Oh my god, it's amazing. We
Oh, everyone's good, eh?
we have these such orderly queues outside grocery stores. It is amazing. We're all 6 feet apart. We're all like queuing like around the car park. We're going like a snake. It's just amazing. It's amazing.
See, this is where that you were preparing for this. You
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sorry that you're getting the negative part of this. Hey, I would be in that situation too if I can work from home. I was uh, a self-employed person last year,
Hmm.
and I am employed right now.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't be able to get on employment insurance, but
Hmm.
I might qualify for the relief benefit.
Hmm.
But I might fall through the cracks as well,
Hmm.
right? Because it's one of those things.
The one positive I see is that my quarantine life hasn't really changed because since I've been self-employed, I've been working from home, so I'm pretty used
Yeah,
to this. Like I rarely went out anyway. I'm kind of a vampire, so
I'm like
um,
that too. You can see I'm in the basement, right?
yeah.
There's a
We've
window
both,
right there.
we've both got pasty skin. It's like yeah, we fit the characteristics.
The sun hurts. So yeah, I mean, it's still almost still nighttime.
Mhm.
Baby is still asleep.
That's
So
good.
you see him
He,
again.
he won't be the minute you hang up.
Yeah, that's right. There he is. Right, he's
Oh,
clear now. he sleeps for 12 hours. It's crazy, really, when you think about
That's
it. Or
more than
11,
most people.
11 and a half. Most people, yeah, more than many people. And
Yeah.
a lot of kids get up in the middle of the night all the time. And
Mhm.
so we got lucky with our first baby.
Mm.
Apparently, they say the second one is the opposite. So
Oh,
yeah,
stop now while
yay!
you're ahead.
Can't wait for that one. I don't know, because yeah, they're like, oh, just wait. Everyone just wants you to suffer, right? That's
Mhm.
really what all parents would say, right?
Mhm.
Oh, just wait. You having it good now? Oh, that's never gonna last. You're gonna have misery. That's
Mhm.
if people enjoy that. So whatever makes them happy, right? So I'm gonna let you go. Next week, I'm gonna have another international person. Who knows who that is? I don't know. I have an idea, but it depends on scheduling. But thanks for being able to do this.
No
I'm
problem.
hoping that it all recorded okay, because I'm only gonna find out once we stop recording. Thanks again. Take care in the UK, and I hope I get to see you in person at the end of September.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Bo.